And the reality is, Rabotai Karim, is that people, because of their emotions, whether it's fear or it's inconvenience or all types of things, will end up having stolen money in their hands. And we're going to get to that in a second of what this means. We're going to get to the second what that actually means, Rabotai. Why did the Chazon Ish finish up with a quote from Rabbi Yisrael Misalan saying that any money that doesn't belong to a person according to the Torah is 100% stolen? What does it mean? Okay, so what? It's stolen. What, Hashem is going to slap me in the face? What does it mean I got stolen money on my hands? What does it mean? Let's just get into it now. What does it mean I have stolen money in my hands? What does it mean? I get genom, I get kafakela, I get slapped in the face. What does it mean to have gezel in my hand? What does it mean? Rabotai Karim, I tell you this as a Kadosh Baruch Hu is my witness. A person that has, according to the Chachamim, a person that has stolen money in his hands, if he does not or she does not do tshuva, cannot enter Gan Eden ever until they do tshuva for that money. Doesn't matter if they keep Shabbat. Doesn't matter if they give tzedakah until their nose bleeds. Doesn't matter if they're married to the biggest tzaddik or tzaddikah in the generation. Doesn't make a difference. A person with stolen money cannot enter Gan Eden. Shows up to Gan Eden because they have all these mitzvot. The generals of Gan Eden tell them, we're sorry, we do not let people with blood on their hands enter Gan Eden. What blood on their hands? I never killed a fly. You have blood on your hands. You have stolen money in your hands. Okay, but I'm in Gan Eden. What can I do about it? You have to come back to the world as a reincarnation. Hashem Yishmo Netzil. You have to come back as a reincarnation. And Chachamim say that a reincarnation is a bigger suffering to the neshama than even Genom is. Why? Because there's more risk. There's more risk. You have to live a whole new lifetime with all new desires and all new mistakes just to fix this $5 that you have stolen, just to fix this $500 that you've stolen, just to fix the $5,000 that you've stolen. You have to live another 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years full of desires, full of mistakes, full of wasting seed possibilities, full of promiscuity in the world, full of filth in the world and garbage in the world. You have to do the whole thing all over again because you needed the $5,000, you idiot. Do you know how much you're going to cry tears of blood for the money that you stole? No, but I got a leniency from the rabbi. He's going to be reincarnated with you. And he will probably never go to Gan Eden, even after the reincarnation. For all of the other people, he's misled because you're not the only one that he's misled. You, my friend, have no chance in the world, doesn't matter what you do, of entering Gan Eden as long as you have stolen money in your hands. That's what the law is. That's why the Chazon Ish is crying. He's telling you, Rabotai Karim, if you have stolen money, start paying it back immediately. If you have it, start paying back immediately. You don't know how long you're going to be in this world. Yeah, but it's tough, but it's this, tough schmuff. Don't mess with HaKadosh Baruch Hu's law. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if there's no justice, there's no world. If there's no justice, there's no world. I cannot emphasize this enough. People steal for a living with literally traditional professions. They steal from their customers. They steal from their partners. They steal from their spouses. They steal from their kids. They steal from the government. They steal from all types of organizations. Literally, stealing has become normal in the world, both the Jewish and the non-Jewish world, both the religious and the non-religious world. Stealing has become normal. And I'm telling you as a Kadosh Baruch Hu is my witness, a Kadosh Baruch Hu will punish every single person severely for every penny that they've ever stolen. Why? That's his entire world standing on that justice. If he doesn't punish a person for stealing, that person is desecrating the Torah in front of all the tzaddikim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu does nothing about it. No chance in the world. No chance in the world. And people think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgets because he doesn't punish right away. The Baal Shem Tov says he one time went to visit one of his Talmidim at his horse ranch. And he told him, my dear Talmid, I want to buy a horse. And he says, Kvod Harav, anything you want. Anything you want, you don't have to buy it. He said, no, I'm going to pay for it. Because we know everything that's free, Sitra Achra has control of it. I'll pay for it. Okay, Kvod Harav, no problem. Which horse do you want? The Baal Shem Tov looks around, there are many, many horses. And he sees one horse and he says, that one. And as he completes the word, that one, the guy starts crying, goes, no, Kvod Harav, I was hoping not that one. He goes, but that's the one that I want. You said anything that I want. He says, but I have hundreds of horses. Take any one. How about this? I'll give you 2, 3 for the price of that one. Same thing. No, I want that one. He says, Kvod Harav, that's the best horse I have. This is the only horse that I've ever seen in my life that I don't have to tell him to work. All day he works. He doesn't want to stop working. He gets mad when he starts working. The other horses, I got to push him to work. I got to get them to work. Any chance I can convince the rabbi to pick another horse? The Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh says to him, my dear Talmid, I want this horse. He says, okay, Kvod Harav, it's yours. He says, you promised me his. They exchange the money. You promised me it's mine. He says, Kvod Harav, my word, it's your horse. The Baal Shem Tov then says to his Talmid, he says, since we're already talking, I wanted to ask you something. You know such and such that used to live down the road from you, a few miles down the road? He says, yeah, Kvod Harav was a very dear friend of mine, 25 years. He says, yeah, he was a good guy. He goes, who's the best? He goes, any chance that he stole some money from you? He goes, no, chas v'shalom, he never stole anything from me. He says, think about it. He ever stole any money from you? He says, listen, Rav, he never stole from me. It's just that he borrowed a few dollars from me. He borrowed $100 from me. But before he got a chance to pay me back, he died. So I don't know, is that stolen? The Baal Shem Tov says to him, Rabotai Yekarim, he says, my dear Talmid, do you forgive him for the $100? He says, of course, Rabbi, he was a dear friend of mine. What do I care about the $100? He goes, no, are you sure you forgive him? He says, yes, Rabbi, I forgive him. He says, okay, say it 3 times. Machul lecha, machul lecha, machul lecha. I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. Talmid says, the rabbi says, I'm going to say, he says, machul lecha, machul lecha, machul lecha. And as soon as he completes the 3rd time, the famous horse, the beautiful horse that doesn't want to stop working, drops dead on the spot. Shocked and in disbelief. He doesn't know what just happened. And the Baal Shem Tov says to him, your friend that left the world owing you $100 arrived in Gan Eden with many mitzvot. But the generals at the Gan Eden told him, you cannot enter here because you have stolen money on your hands. He says, but how could I pay back if I'm up here and he's down there? They say you can come back as a reincarnation and work for him until you earn the money, or he forgives you. And they reincarnated your tzaddik friend who was a tzaddik, Talmid Chacham. They reincarnated him as a horse so he could work for you and work for you and work for you either until he earned the $100 as a horse or you forgave him. Rabotai Yekarim, the Arizal says that there was a guy that was a tzaddik, Talmid Chacham, that got reincarnated as a rock for things that you and I don't even think are sins. But yet there are arrogant and ignorant people in the world that go and steal money from all types of entities, from their family, from their friends, from governments, from anybody they could, knowing that it's wrong, because they have to lie in applications, knowing that it's wrong because they know if they get caught, they go into jail, knowing that it's wrong because they're saying, hush, don't tell nobody. If it's so right, why don't you publicize it in the newspaper, your new strategy of making money? They know it's wrong and they do it. Why? They don't think that there's a din, and they don't think that there's a dayan. They don't think there's justice, and they don't think that there's a judge. But Rabotai Yekarim, there is a judge, and that judge will bring his judgment. And as the Mishnah in Avot says, is an eye that sees and as an ear that hears every single thing that each and every single one of us does, every business transaction that you do, however small and however big, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself watches that transaction. And if you have money in your pocket that's not in according to the Torah, it's 100% gezel. And you're going to have to either do tshuva in this world or pay for it very dearly. Very dearly. And whoever is misguiding you and telling you that it's okay and it's okay and it's okay, they cannot tell you anything in Shamayim. All of those Care Bear rabbis that are telling people it's okay to steal from Goyim. All of those Care Bear rabbis that are telling people it's okay to steal from governments. Collecting welfare checks when you're really middle class to upper class. All of those people that are telling you it's okay to take advantage of people that don't see and don't this and don't that, every single one of them will have to pay the judgment, but that's not going to absolve you if you have stolen money in your hands. Rabotai Yekarim, stolen money is very easy to get. And in order to run away from stolen money, a person has to have the deepest sense of emet in himself. Deepest sense of emet. Why? It's enticing. You got money in front of you. You figure, listen, if I take this, I'll give it back and I'll donate this, and you can justify it 1,500 times to justify your stolen money. 1,500 times you have 1,500 excuses for every dollar that you stole. But that, Rabotai, is the problem. As the Ramchal says, the heart has a special desire to find leniencies in order to make sins. And you, my dear friend, if you do not have the fear of the Almighty, you will have a load of stolen money in your accounts that you've already spent and forgot about, and you have no idea how to get yourself out of this hole. But you can get yourself out of the hole. You can't get yourself out of the hole. Well, first and foremost, you have to know, if you have a business problem with another person, you do not judge that case yourself. You do not judge that case yourself. Why? We see in this week's parasha, Parashat Metzorah, Parashat Tazria, double parasha week, they tell the Kohen that he's the one that has to go and look at the people and see what kind of afflictions they have, stains they have on their house, or on their bodies, and their hair, and their beard, and so on, to determine whether they have the spiritual disease called tzarat. But, Rabotai, the Mishnah says in Masechet Negaim, second perek, Mishnah number 5, a person can see all of the afflictions except the afflictions of himself. A person can see all of the afflictions except the afflictions of himself, meaning that the Kohen is allowed to see all the stains on your body, all the stains on your house, all the stains everywhere else, except on his own. If he sees in his own arm, he's got a stain, just like what you have. You had tzarat, you had coronavirus, he sees the same thing on himself, he's not allowed to judge himself. What? He has to bring somebody else. Tell me, is this it? Why? Why? Mishnah says in the name of Rabbi Meir, En adam ro'eh negay atzmo. A person does not see the afflictions in himself. As it says in Masechet Shabbat and in other places, En adam ro'eh chova le'atzmo. In so many words, both things mean the same thing. A person does not see the flaws in himself, the afflictions in himself, not allowed to judge himself. Can't say I'm right on this because it makes sense to me. Listen, did not pay me the right way, so the fact that I took this extra money by, misbilling them, or by clocking in even though I wasn't working, by doing this, by doing that, in essence, you stole company money. It's not so bad because they really owe me the money because I worked this and I worked that. You cannot judge it. You have to have the Torah judge it for you. Why? You're never going to see yourself as wrong. Even the Kohen is not allowed to judge himself. The Kohen is a tzaddik. Even he is not allowed to judge himself. And comes Rabbi Meir Baranes and says he cannot even judge his family and close people. And therefore he could cancel out all of the nedarim, all of the swears of everybody else, except the ones of himself and the people that are close to him. Why? Because the people that are close to him, his wife, his parents, people that are close to him, they're just like him. He's never going to see his parents as wrong in public. He's never going to see his brother, his sister, his wife in wrong in public. Why? Because if he knows, listen, the wife just made a mistake, she owes this company $5 million. He knows that $5 million is coming from both their bank accounts. He's not going to say, yeah, my wife is wrong, she really owes you the money. Never. Never. Same thing with his parents. No, I'm not going to do it to my parents. No one is going to testify against their own parents, unless it's to their own best interest, which obviously that means they have a very serious problem with a different mitzvah, kibud avayim. But the point being, Rabotai, that's why you cannot be a judge of yourself. You have to go to a bed din. You have to have the Torah judge what the truth is by providing all the information. Why? You're never going to see an error in yourself. You're never going to see an error in yourself, Rabotai. That's why even the Kohen, in this week's parasha, the Kohen teaches us that he cannot judge himself. He can judge the entire land. He can judge literally every single Jew in the world. But he cannot judge himself. Cannot judge himself. So first and foremost, a person needs to know that not to judge themselves, but rather go to a Rav, Talmid Chacham, a Beit Din. You have a case with somebody else, you go to a Beit Din. You go to a rabbi, you do what you have to do to get this squared out according to the Torah itself. That's number one. Number two, don't start looking at everybody else's mistakes before you look at yourself. Why? Comes the Baal Shem Tov, the father of Chassidut, and says this pasuk in Parashat Tazria that says that the Kohen cannot check himself, which the Mishnah says that en adam roe negaya atzmo, that a person can, because a person cannot see the afflictions in himself, can also be understood that a person only sees because he doesn't see the afflictions in himself. What does it mean? He's blind? No, he only sees the afflictions in other people. He sees the sins in other people. But in reality, the one that only sees the sins in other people, the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh says in Bereshit, Parashat Bereshit commentary, he says that person we learn from that person from Masechet Kiddushin, page 70a, that person is telling us something about himself. What about himself? Since he only sees the wrong in everybody else, since he only sees the afflictions in everyone else, he never says I'm wrong. He never says I did. He only says he, she, they're all wrong. They're all this, they're all that. Kol hapusel bemumo pasul. Person that sees others, they're all canceled. They're all wrong. He himself is the canceled one, meaning that he sees everybody's wrongdoing because he's familiar with it, because he himself is doing it. You see, Rabotai Yekirim, it's very important. When you have Musar from Chassidut, you have Musar from the Baalei Musar, you have the Halacha from the Poskim like the Chazon Ish and the Tur and the Shulchan Aruch, all come in one pie. It's beautiful, it's perfect, it's emet. It all coincides. When you have clowns coming saying, no, but that's not the way we learn in Chassidut, and that's not the way we learn in Halacha. No, Chabad. If it's emet, every part of the 70 facets of the Torah will come together and it'll be a perfectly beautiful diamond with the inscription of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's signature saying emet. Saying emet. Every facet of the diamond will say the same thing. It's emet. When a person only sees the wrong in others but nothing in himself, that means that he himself is wrong. He himself has afflictions. It's not that he doesn't have afflictions. It's that he's too busy looking at everybody else and not in himself because it's familiar to him. And it's very important for a person to reflect. But again, we go back to rule number 1. You can't judge yourself. So you can't judge yourself, but don't spend your day judging other people because you can't judge yourself. What do you have to do? You have to have a Rav. You have to have a Rav. It's going to tell you the truth, and you have to go to a Bet Din, and you have to have the Dayanim, and you have to know what the truth is and stick to it no matter how much it burns. No matter how much it burns, Rabotay Karim. Now, if a person has stolen money, if he has the money, he has to pay it back as soon as he possibly can. If he doesn't have the money, then he should already start doing the other parts of the Teshuva, which is obviously to say, I'm sorry to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and start a payment plan to pay the money back. Now, if the entity that he stole the money from is a person, he has to return the money to it. Now, if that's going to cause him embarrassment, then let it cause him embarrassment. That embarrassment is part of his or her Teshuva. Sometimes people don't want to return the money even if they have it because they're afraid of being embarrassed. That embarrassment is part of your Teshuva. It's a necessary part of your Teshuva. Just like when someone said Lashon Hara, when someone said bad things, Kadosh Baruch Hu gave him tzarat. And when the Kohen Gadol, when the Kohen saw that this person has tzarat, what did he say? Tameh, tameh, out loud. Everybody screamed, tameh, tameh. It brought a lot of embarrassment that this person had tzarat. Yeah, that's part of the Teshuva. Having that embarrassment was part of the Teshuva. Now, if a person simply can't do it, then he can return the money, but he can return it anonymously. Take an envelope, put the money in there, leave it in a place where only that person will get it. Don't just leave it in some random mailbox and hope that it's going to get to him. No, you have to make sure that they get it. You could have a check with no name on it, send the check to the person, and they deposit the check. You know for sure that they got it. You can return the money. Now, if that person doesn't exist in the world, he moved away, you looked for them, he disappeared, he doesn't exist in the world, after you've tried finding that person, you can't find him. Or perhaps you owe the money to a company and you know that if you can't really return it to the company because the company is a big company and you can't really go, let's say you stole money from some Walgreens or something like that, or Walmart. You go to the teller, tell them, listen, I stole $50,000 worth of goods from you guys. You give that $50,000 check to that teller is going to deposit in her bank account. Not going to deposit in Walmart. So you have to call the head office. Now, if you know that the head office, if you tell them, listen, I stole $50,000 from you, I stole $5,000 from you, and I want to give the money back, and you know that's going to put you at risk, that you could potentially go to jail because they don't really care about the money, they care about making a statement, then you have to go and return the money to a public cause that they could potentially benefit from. If it's a person, something they could benefit from, could be it could be a food cause, or a homeless shelter, or kiruv, or something that the world can benefit from. My personal favorite, obviously, is kiruv because I think that everybody benefits out of more Torah in the world, and that's a fact. But nonetheless, if there's something that you know for sure that that person is involved in and would directly benefit from, donate for that. Needless to say, you have to return the money. Now, what if you have $50,000 in debt, but only $5,000 to pay? Then pay the $5,000, and as soon as you get some more money, pay more. Make a payment plan. Make a payment plan. Some people that have heard some of my shiurim from the past about Gezel and inquired about it, literally they started making payment plans of a few $100s every month, every few months, whenever their budget is, some more, some less, to start paying off this Gezel because the people or the entities they stole it from are long gone 20 years ago. They can't return it. They're bankrupt. They're gone. So they're using that money for their sake to donate for kiruv, in order to help people learn more Torah, and Be'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will designate this money to go to those people's merits. But nonetheless, Rabotay Karim, Whether you donate the money or you give it directly to the person, if you can give it directly to the person, that's always preferable. But if you can't because it puts you at risk or something like that, then you have to do whatever you can to return the money as soon as possible. You don't want to leave this world with stolen money in your hands. Now, if you're worried about, how I'm going to have the money, this, that, the other thing, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees those that love him and he pays them cash. And I've seen with my own eyes people that have taken Teshuva seriously. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made many miracles for them and increased their parnasah, increased their ability to make money, gave more opportunities, and they were able to have a lot more in their life. But the people that have stolen money, we already know from Shlomo HaMelech and from other Chachamim in the Torah, other Tzaddikim in the Torah, people that have stolen money, people that lend money with interest, people that do these types of business are guaranteed to go and suffer for those sins, and even more so, they'll even lose their money. They'll lose all of their money in this world. And many times you see people celebrating a lot of money. They're buying cars, they're buying houses, they're doing all these different things. It looks like they're winning. They're in their 20s, they're in their 30s, they're in their 40s. Looks like the guy's got it made. He's got a house, he's got kids, got a vacation, he's got this, he's got that. 50 years old hits, 55 years old hits. All of a sudden, wife leaves him, kids are overdose, money starts getting lost, IRS audits, all types of problems. Within no time, the guy loses everything. People that think you can't lose money simply are fools. They're lying to themselves. Just in the past 2 weeks, there was a very well-known investor who made a fortune, meaning he's not a stupid guy. He turned $200 million that he made working in the hedge fund business to over $20 billion in less than 10 years, which is beyond extraordinary. Doesn't matter what you start with. To turn $200 to $2 million is ridiculous. That's what happened. He turned $200 million. He already had a lot of money, and he turned it to over $20 billion in the last 8 years. Now, this is unbelievable, right? Well, Rabotai, he donated money. Everybody thought he was a good guy. Donates money, charitable, and so on and so forth. He lost all of the money that he has, meaning all $20 billion in 1 day 2 weeks ago. In 1 day. In 1 day. What do you think? That's because he made a mistake? What do you think? That's because the market went against him? Anyone that thinks that is a heretic. HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays cash to his haters to their face. Pays cash to their haters to their face, but also, that cash doesn't last forever. The cash doesn't last forever. Rabotai Karim, plenty of people have lost their fortunes. When they thought they were winning, they thought they were doing great. They were 20, 30, 40 years old. What's the big deal? And a person doesn't understand what's waiting for him in this world or the next. People take these sins for granted. They don't think it's a big deal, and they steal in their businesses. They steal from their customers. They cheat people. There's no chance in the world that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to let that go. Anyone that says HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a vatran, that he's going to let go of these things, will get an extra punishment for his chutzpah, for such a thing. I tell you this because I know for sure that many people in the world today, including people that watch me, have blood on their hands without even realizing it was blood until they watched the lecture today. And that's what the Chazon Ish is crying about. He says the judgment, being just, being emet when it comes to business, is the foundation of the world. If you are not just when it comes to money, you're not going to be just when it comes to anything else. You could look like a religious person. You could even be a religious person. You could be generous. You could be nice. You could be a lot of things. But nothing is going to help you in the day of judgment in Shamayim, and they see that you have stolen money that you knew about on your account. And don't claim, I was ignorant, I didn't know, the rabbi told me. No. Everybody knows, betoch tocho, inside themselves, whether they have stolen money. Everybody knows. Everybody knows, Rabotai. Everybody knows. It's very important for a person to be clean and be realistic with themselves. make sure you evaluate, make sure you do what's right, and I promise you, you'll see many, many blessings in your life. We learned it from this week's parasha that each and every single one of us has to do tshuva. Each and every single one of us can use this teachings to reflect, to see what kind of obligation we each have, and start applying it in our day-to-day life, in our learning, in our teaching, in our giving, in our behavior in day-to-day. And Be'ezrat Hashem, each and every single one of us will succeed in a very, very big way. Be'ezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.